presence, Lord. We've come today to meet you here, God, to embrace your presence, to have this encounter with you, Jesus. We love you, God. Have your way in this place, God. We've come to meet you here, right here. I've come to meet you here. I'm better right here. I'm better right now. I give you all of my fear. I lay them right here. I lay them down. I put my trust in you. I put my hope in you. I put my faith in you, all for your glory. Sing, I've come to meet you here, Lord. I've come to meet you here. I'm better right here. I'm better right here. I'm better right now. I give you all my fear. I lay them right here. I lay them down. Say, I put my trust in you. Oh Lord, I put my hope in you. Yes, we do. I put my faith in you for your glory. Sing, I put my trust in you. Can we put our hope in you, Lord? And all of our faith. Oh, for your glory. Oh. We can trust in you, Lord. Always trust in you, Lord. Come on, lift your hands and declare this with me. We put our trust in you, God. We put our hope in you, God. We put our faith in you, God. Always, always. We put our trust in you, God. We put our hope in you, God. Yes, we do. We put our faith in you, God. Always, always. We put our trust in you, God. Yeah. We put our hope in you, God. We put our faith in you, God. Always. We declare fear is not big. Say, fear is not bigger than God. Fear is not bigger than God. Fear is not bigger than God. Say, no way, no way, no way, no way, no way, no way, no way. all for your glory. Only Lord, for your glory. Lift your hands with me and say, I put my trust in you. I put my hope in you. I put my faith in you. All for your glory. Let's sing that one last time together. Come on, lift those hands and say, I put my trust in you. I put my hope in you. I put my faith in you. For your glory.
Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Pardon the noise, but we thought we'd do something a little bit different tonight. Being as we've got a few minutes before Paul Bell's class starts at 7:30 in the PromiseLand Prayer Network, we wanted to use this time to show you where we're at on the chapel. It's a lot of activity going on today, so I'm sure that there's a lot of noise, and I want to show you some of the reasons for the noise you're hearing coming from over here, because that's why we're going to be able to move in with the Lord's help on the 28th. So I'm really excited about this. I want you to make sure when this feed goes off, you get in the PromiseLand Prayer Network and join Paul Bell's Nazarite class. It is amazing. It will benefit you so much. It does me every single time I'm in there. I learn something. So first, if you'll come with me, I want to show you something. This truck just pulled up. How long ago did it get here, Heath?
10 minutes.
10 minutes ago, with 500 chairs, which are being offloaded here on the west side of our campus. That's one thing we want to say. When we say the west entrance or the west parking lot, we're talking about the side furthest away from Berkman Drive and the parsonage. We're talking about the side of the property where the pavilion is, just around this corner. You can't see it, probably because of that truck, but it is just around this corner, and that's all the west parking lot. We have had this sign here for years, PromiseLand Theater. This is, however, now being called the chapel. And so when we say we're moving into the chapel while construction happens in the main auditorium, this is what we're talking about. So why don't we take a peek in here and see what's going on? We're very close to the end of our construction schedule. Somebody was playing a joke on us right there. Let's see if we can not knock over any of the crew. Now, many of you have been in here many times, and you'll recognize right away how much has been done to just totally revitalize it. Let's see if I can flip on the light. I saw in here yesterday, and I was happy. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Give them a shot of that floor, too. So, I haven't even seen around the corner. Is there a new fixture? I want to see that. Okay, so everything is getting very close. I mean, finishing touches, which is why we thought it'd be nice to show you where we're at. Come with me through the doors. These are the last few remaining of the old pews that are being moved out. I think there's even a Hammond sitting over there. There will be also a Hammond on the platform as long as I have breath in me. And the beautiful revitalized auditorium in the chapel. Some of you will remember the overhanging shelves. What did we call those? I don't know. They made the room feel so much smaller. I was blown away when I came in here after they pulled those out and just opened everything up so well. We're dropping the chairs in today. We're not setting them up today because there's still a lot to be done on these lifts and with scaffolding. Sean and Heath have been here around the clock, Greg Bottoms around the clock, many others, and then the crews. And so there's still quite a ways to go, but we're getting close. It's kind of punch list time. So soon we'll have a work night and lay these chairs out and get them set up. But this Friday evening, and I believe on Monday night as well, especially we're asking the men's department to kick in people, but trust me, if anybody else sends people, we'll find something for you to do. But we've got to move some stuff over from the other side, and that's going to take a couple to a few trips, moving things over from the other side of the campus to storage on this side, and some to actually, be a part of what we're using, particularly Sunday school stuff, a bunch of sound equipment, that kind of deal. And then the old choir risers, you guys remember those? We have to move everything out of the whole eastern half of the property and over to this side so that the crews can get to work over there. So one more time, if you'll come with me a little bit, I want to show you more of what we're looking at here. And if you're able to watch this video without getting dizzy, that's because Heath has incredibly steady hands. I'm watching him, it's tripping me out. How do you even do that? His hands hardly move.
It's all got me.
I'm gonna back into the wall because I'm so impressed. Okay, this also I'm really excited about. Now, these doors we will not be using except basically as emergency exits during our services. And the reason for that is because through here in the classic World of Pentecost PromiseLand prayer gardens, we will set up children's world, PL Kids, whatever we're gonna call it officially. This will be divided. There'll be some classes that are in some of the rooms that kind of branch off of this, but a bunch of it will happen right in here. Over on the other side of this room, where my old office and Sean Trevino's old office was, and before that I know many others have occupied these offices, going all the way back to Bishop Phillips, Pastor Randy. These offices have been occupied through the years with desks and that kind of thing. We're going to use them more for classrooms and so on right now. But some of you will remember this little inlet, and I want to show you so you have a point of reference. Looking out at the east parking and the pavilion, kind of get an idea of where you are. Heath's car, is that your car? No. So the kids' sign-in will be under this overhang. That's where you'll get your secure tag and hug your kid. And then what we're going to do is have it set up where adults aren't going to go past this unless they are actually on the PL Kids team or the security team. And we're really not going to make exceptions about that, even with staff during service times, during our weekend experience and so on. When we have minors being served in this area, we're not going to have any adults that are not supposed to be on duty, on schedule in this area, background checked and all of that, so that once your kid goes through these doors, you've got the assurance of knowing no one's going to come in contact with them that you weren't expecting to come in contact with them. We're excited about having that so close to where we're meeting, and just ease of access for parents and so on. If you need to come, if you get paged and realize your kid needs you, you'll be able to just exit the church where we came in, walk down the side just a few feet, and talk to some of the PL Kids staff right here in this little inlet. So I think it's going to be secure for sure, and also convenient. So we're excited about that and feel like we have a good chance of being ready to go on the 28th. So I have a few minutes left. I just checked my timer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk back over here a little bit closer to the mic. What do you call that? The thing the mic is connected to. And just want to read to you a passage that's been on my mind as we prepare for this. This is out of the First Testament book of Ezra. The prophet Ezra ministering to the children of Israel, and Zerubbabel, who was the general contractor overseeing the reconstruction of Jerusalem after the return from captivity. And if you hear a little bit of noise and construction going on in the background, that's kind of what I wanted you to hear. That's what the setting of the few verses we're going to read out of Ezra 3 were very much like. These would have been written and delivered with the sounds of hammers and saws and chisels in the background. At the moment that we read here in Ezra chapter 3, beginning in verse 8, what has happened is that Jerusalem has been largely reconfigured as a city after having been burnt to the ground when the Israelite people were led into captivity. And it's recognizable again. It's got defenses and walls. What it doesn't have is the temple. And every time we read about the temple in the First Testament of our Bible and in the Gospels before Jesus went to Calvary, we are reading about something natural and physical that was meant to show us a picture of something supernatural and spiritual. And that supernatural and spiritual thing is the house of God, which is now in all of us. So the church, when it is united, when it is sincere, when it is born again, when it is doing what it is meant to do, it is the house of God. We are all together the house of God. That's why whichever side of the campus we meet on is the house of God, because actually these are the rooms in which the house of God meets. And so the natural temple, having been destroyed, is about to be rebuilt, because God will always have a place on earth where he has chosen to put his name, and now that place is in you and I. Ezra 3 verse 8, now in the second year of their coming to the house of God at Jerusalem, in the second month, Zerubbabel the contractor, Joshua the high priest, the rest of the brothers and the priests and the Levites, that's everybody who was meant to work in the temple. Remember that we are now a nation of priests. And all who came from the captivity to Jerusalem began the work and appointed the Levites from 20 years and older to oversee the work of the house of the Lord. Now there probably would not have been many, but there would have been some Levites and priests who remembered the first house. And over the numbers of an entire nation, there were quite a few people who remembered the old temple. And now work is beginning on the new one. But the youngest, the 20-year-olds that are mentioned, they had never seen that. Verse 10, now when the builders had laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, the priests stood in their apparel with trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals to praise the Lord, according to the directions of King David of Israel. They sang, praising and giving thanks to the Lord, saying, for he is good, for his loving kindness is upon Israel forever. And all the people shouted, everyone shouted, all the people shouted with a great shout when they praised the Lord, because the foundation of the house was laid. Yet many of the priests and Levites and heads of fathers' households, the old ones who had seen the foundation, who had seen the first temple, wept with a loud voice when the foundation of this house was laid before their eyes, while many shouted aloud for joy, so that the people could not distinguish the sound of the shout of joy from the sound of the weeping of the people. For the people shouted with a loud shout, and the shout was heard far away. The admonition that comes to me today as we listen to the sounds of construction taking place in a natural building that holds the Temple of the Lord at 51st Street, which is being reborn into a new generation, a new expression of an ancient identity and an anointing and a mission we've been tasked with for a very long time. The admonition that comes to me out of this passage is, it is crucial, if the world is going to know what God is doing, that we all be crying out, speaking out, shouting out for the same reasons. Let's choose to ignore the impulse, to forego the impulse, to think of everything that makes us nostalgic and long for older days and all of that, and focus all of that energy on expectation and joy at what God is doing in the future, because the word of the Lord that came forth about that temple, eventually the second temple, was that the glory of the latter house would be greater than the former. And what probably the people who heard that prophecy didn't even know is that we were the latter house. God is building us into the finalized expression of what this ministry, this anointing is meant to be in our generation. And ours very well may be the generation in which the Lord returns for his church. But of course, the ones who have come just before us, and many of whom will be listening to this and remembering the former great moves of God in this very address, they can tell you they also thought they were probably going to be the ones that would see the return of the Lord. So all we can do is, until he comes, we keep becoming who he created us to be. As long as we don't stop that, then it does not yet appear what we shall be, but we shall be like him when we see him face to face. In other words, folks, I wanted you to see what's happening. I wanted you to feel the excitement, because I want you to know in the depths of your soul, the reason to make noise right now is because of the good things that God is doing. Let's be sure that the sound that comes out of our spirits, out of our homes, out of our ministries, out of our dream teams, out of our life groups, and out of our congregation is a unified shout of praise to God for what he's doing, and be thrilled about the potential of the future, rather than weighed down with concern about the things we remember, the things we wonder about, the unknowns and all of that. We could choose to focus on that, or some of us could, and then we might muddy the sound of what God is doing, like happened in this story. But I don't believe we will. I believe we will choose to be thrilled, to be full of expectancy, to be filled with high praise, and to be unified in our excitement about what God is doing on 51st Street. In that spirit, I want to just bless everybody in prayer, and then release you to, I want to encourage you. The Nazarite ministry is a very powerful prayer ministry, intercessory prayer strike force. Anybody can be a part of it. Anybody can join it. And I think it's a great thing for every believer to do. However, whether or not you actually join the Nazarite prayer ministry in our church, I cannot see a reason why a blood-bought believer wouldn't attend the class at 7:30 with Paul Bell in the PromiseLand Prayer Network, because I'm telling you, my prayer walk is strengthened every time I go in that. My house will be called a house of prayer, right? So those intercessory prayer classes are amazing. I encourage you to find that as soon as this feed goes off. And I just want to say the Lord bless you, the Lord keep you, the Lord make his face to shine on you, the Lord be gracious to you and give you peace. And we can't wait to see, hopefully, a bunch of you on Friday night and Monday night for a little bit of work here on campus and food. We'll feed you. And we can't wait to see you on Sunday morning for Father's Day with Dr. Octavius Bishop. How cool is that? It's going to be a great day. Make sure you bring everybody out. That's my time. And so I just want you all to have a great evening. Make sure you jump in the class, and we'll see you very soon. God bless you. We love you.